Hey everybody, welcome back to X's for Show, your premier media response show, but it's Sunday night, so we're talking about all your favorite drag girls from all over the RuPaul World of Wonder. You can check us out at X's for Show, and as for me, I'm Nico Action, NICO
And I'm TK. You can find me at TK Elemental.
Which makes me Tori. You can find me at SM Tori. That's Tori with an I.
I'm Jonah. You can find me places at P Jonah.
And I'm your producer, KEVO. Really, your boy is back at, like, I'd say 80% efficiency. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment your well wishes and tell us what you want us to cover in the future. But yeah, we got drag. One country had a pretty good challenge, and the other, acting is always pretty rough, isn't it?
Well, and I just want to say that I'm really glad that at no point did Plain Jane show up so that nobody would finish this episode. But
that might have made Australia more engaging, but
dear,
she
I have to watch Bring Back My Girls, don't I?
Well, no, really more you have to be on Twitter.
You gotta be on. No, Blue Sky now.
Blue Sky.
You gotta be on Blue Sky now. Evidently, it really can be one of those things where, like, there's an immovable object and there is an unstoppable force, and when the two of them come together in bras and chest plates, it's crazy. But speaking of crazy, we had a Meet the Queens, got to meet a whole bunch of new queens. Don't have an episode of UK this week. Seeing a lot of reaction to UK. Seeing some people be like, well, they had to stop Lavoie from winning because otherwise it was too painted. Seeing some people being like, it's about bringing in the young audience, the young demographic. I think a week out from it, I'm still pretty angry. But I will say this, I've gotten a bunch of things that are like, come check out Lavoie at this event, and I've gotten nothing about Kyron. So if I had to guess, Kyron's probably just Gordon Lightfoot styled, squirreled away in a cabin somewhere, just writing a song for a winter's night with you.
It's possible.
Ooh, highly possible. We shall see. But a queen's got a lot going on. She may not have been prepared for such a thing. Lavoie is currently in a panto, so she's already like right there with her social media anyway. So I wouldn't consider Kyron in the woods working on mathematics just yet.
And like part of what makes me laugh is Lavoie always sounds like she swallowed a crouton a little hard. So like I just really love her so much, and I think she deserves all the work. I also think Kyron deserves all the work, and knowing that they're Drag Race girls, they will eventually have all the work. But I am a really big fan of both. If they haven't already, I'm a really big fan. I really just enjoy watching the aftermath of this season, because the aftermath of 16 was kind of it lacked an alibi. It was that level of UGLY. And so I was just a little happier to see that the argument here is, no, this girl was more talented. No, this girl was more talented, and not things like, I'm racist in this way. So that said, there just isn't enough on there that I'm seeing for Marmalade and Release Elisa. So I just want to big up to those hot girls and, them hot titties.
UK has a curse, and if you win the roast in UK, you're not allowed to win the season. That is how things go. I believe the only person who's won the roast and won the season is season 4's Danny Beard. I believe everybody else has lost. And so if you are a UK diva and you're trying to get on the show, don't throw the roast. Do good, but don't do too good to win, because you won't win the season then.
Don't goat the roast. Don't goat the roast, queens.
Shoot for them.
I'm now imagining, that thing where the cartoon animal swallows the roast chicken too, and it's like stuck in its throat right here? That's what I'm imagining now. That is you.
No, Brendan went home.
You started with your good old Ross Matthews impression. You know that thing when you're doing an impression and we're talking about a cartoon.
That obvious joke.
I can go. I can take these glitter tits and go.
No.
Speaking of glitter tits, TK, a week out from UK, TK, you okay?
UK?
UK, hon?
I'm okay. I just, like I said, it was weird at the time because Lavoie was not my preferred person to win, but I did think that she did win, and that's a weird feeling. But yeah, I mean, it's all in good fun.
That's kind of how I feel when I didn't win a game that I clearly should have won. I won anyway, so I'm just gonna give myself the 100,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And after the amount of honey wheat pretzels I ate this week, I definitely weigh 100,000 pounds. But I want to roll us into some new ish. Let's eat. Here's how I. Well,
as it were.
As it were. If I were in Canada, I would want some beer cheese soup. I really love beer cheese soup. It's a Canadian specialty. It's really good at steakhouses. And so what was my beer cheese soup this week? I think what I loved the most about Canada this week was the way every girl was playing along at home. That was one of the most exciting things. Maybe UK had a little bit more like when a show hits that magic stride from day one, but every girl in Canada is a fan of at least 5 other girls on that stage. So watching them be part of the slay off so presently was really cool, and it was something that you don't see in the American quite as much, because every girl in the American is just really concerned about the hashtag. It seemed like a lot of the girls here were so excited about the team.
I actually have always kind of wondered when they do these lip sync battles, if the girls, I know the girls aren't watching the edited footage from the workroom. When they're watching, they're probably watching like 7 different camera versions like on the screen and trying to figure it out. So I was actually very impressed with the fact that the girls got to be in the room for this. Like they get to watch each other do this, and they get to be backup dancers. Yeah. I was like, oh, they gave them stools. I was like, they're really letting them be comfortable today. Isn't it nice? For those of us who have not previously watched some Canada seasons, what is the slay off normally?
So this is the second slay off, the first being from last season, season 4, in which they did it bracket style. You know how Brew will do like the random stuff? It's not the wheel, but they'll do the ping pong ball. I think they do the ping pong ball. And so whoever was called, the way that they did it last year was they had all the songs laid out, and if your name was called, you got to choose what song you wanted to go to. If somebody already went to that song first, that's who you were lip syncing against. So if you got called last, you were stuck with whatever was there. And then they did it tournament style, but the winners kept lip syncing until they got to, for that episode, it was a bottom 3. All 3 had to lip sync. I mean, actually, it might have been a bottom 4, and all 4 had 3 people had to lip sync, and 1 person stayed. 2 people were eliminated that episode.
Oh. Exciting.
I think the only thing I don't love is that it's called like lip sync slay off.
Love that recap.
The recap was terrific. Like, I felt like that was one of those awesome everything you need to know about Final Fantasy Drag Race Canada slay off in 30 seconds. It was one,
and that's what you missed on slay off. Exactly.
It's not a slay off though. And the reason I kind of want to be like, it's not a slay off, because, and this is a little bit weird, but like, okay. For me, a slay off is when a girl is like, I'm going to read you down, girl. I'm going to dance you out, girl. I'm going to break your spirit with my energy. And this was sort of like, let's destroy her from the inside. Here's a calculated move. They're going to give it to this person. Let's make her feel bad about the things she's supposed to be good at. Okay, the next person. They're old. Who can we put up against someone who's old, and we'll do the classic number? Terrific. Okay. And like, this was maybe the most cunning I've seen, like, going up against other people on this show in a while.
Is that because they were actually smart, or because you don't like the cutthroated cunning?
I love it. The reality is, okay, I know that Leah Michelle wouldn't be able to do this because she can't read, but part of the problem is you're supposed to read a bitch, and you're supposed to let someone know who you are, and you're supposed to be that kind of boy or girl at auditions. And I mean, I wish it was everybody was friendly and sweet, but I know it's not. And I know you don't walk out of an audition being like, it's cool. Like, you walk out of the audition being like, I owned that. So all the girls after you know to be nervous. And like, some of it is the confidence game. Some of it is being strong. Some of it is playing the game. And I think sometimes when people are like, I can't believe you would do that to me. Right. Do I want the money or do I want to give it to you? I'm not saying stack the deck unevenly, but I am saying play competitively.
But I think that the girls did that very well.
I agree.
Okay.
I haven't seen them do that in a really long time.
Yeah.
I feel like for the most part, they're always like, no, we wanted to see this cute thing. Girlies.
Right.
And
We
like,
yeah.
I think back to season 5 where they had the first roast, the roost of RuPaul, because RuPaul is a bird, I guess, and she has to be roosting in her nest. Where Alaska won the mini challenge and was gifted the ability to create the order, and her mindset was, well, I'm trying to make a good show. I'm not trying to trip anybody up. I want it to be a good show. This is for RuPaul. I'm trying to impress RuPaul. And they were like, why weren't you strategic about what you did? And she was like, because I wanted a good show. There's sometimes where there's a level of honesty where some people are like, I'm just trying to give the best that performance they can be. I'm not trying to like mess anybody up. If they mess up on them for themselves, that's on them. I'm not trying to be the one where someone can blame me. But sometimes there's a level of healthy competitiveness where you can be like, you're my biggest competition. Good luck. I didn't throw the pearls on the ground, but they're there.
well, Pearl spent that entire number on the ground. I don't know why.
Is there something on the floor?
And I just keep
That was
thinking
good.
because
That was good.
she's always in those cute little outfits. I always think she's named herself after the mouse from Cinderella. Okay, Clunk.
That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut, and I'm proud of you. I don't know if it's
Susie,
true, but I
Gus,
believe
Gus,
in it.
and Jack. What do you mean?
Yeah, most people just don't know the
Yeah, I know.
girls' names, and you know what? That's
Yeah.
misogyny. That's
It is.
you're a feminist, and we appreciate that.
Jack sounds
Justice
like
for the girl
Lavoie.
rats.
Yeah.
Gus, Gus. It sounds just like
Nice.
Lavoie.
I love that.
For the girl mice. But to what you're talking about, Nico, we kind of had a little bit of that this episode. Xana, Teen Virgo getting to go second. Xana said, all right, the song is X's. Tiffany performs the song every single week back home. This is always going to be one of her numbers. Who can beat her in a lip sync? And Virgo was like, I'm up to that challenge. And spoiler, Virgo did beat her.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. I'm TK. How did you feel about the repeated setup on this? Like I mean, because like I love her and she's gorgeous, but Minnie Wang, girl, I don't know how you did this.
Yeah, there were some suspect wins in the bunch, and I won't get into that too much. The Virgo Tiffany lip sync in particular felt like a really big setup for Tiffany leaving, because they talked about it so much from her end. Like it was actually a very I don't want to say well written plot, but like it was much more straightforward and less like bemusing than a lot of Drag Race plots where you see it happening and you're like, okay, but they're editing this weird, and like they've cut a weird sound bite over footage, then you can't see what the person, like how the person is saying that sound bite in context. But like, I guess we got a storyline out of that. In this particular case, Tiffany insists it's her number. Xana says, I know Tiffany, it's her number. And a queen that has already shown that she is a really talented lip syncer and kind of goes for it, ends up being the person that challenges her. And then, you know, it just really isn't a surprise where, you know, I sort of felt like, oh my God, winning was a bit of a surprise. And it was kind of the same thing. Like I don't know that I got the impression that Xana knew that this was the song that Uma would do. But I got the impression that Xana's confidence about doing this song was a little more earned. And I don't know. So like, you know, the Virgo Tiffany moment to me felt like a very straightforward storyline that then carried us all the way through to the end, where Xana versus Uma was very abrupt and out of nowhere and made very little sense to me. So it was fun to have all of that. I mean, similarly, Jaylene versus Helena Poison, same thing in the opposite direction.
We will get to that lip sync in a second.
We
I
have thoughts.
I actually have to. I completely disagree. I thought Umagod punished Xana, and the reason for me for that is because Xana looked like she was having a fit on stage. She never stopped moving. It never matched the song. It was just kick, jump, split, run, move, split, run, kick, and it was like so out of control. I literally was like, she is having a Jessie Spano moment.
So
And like,
then you did not think Sanjina won her lip sync either.
no, I thought Sanjina won her lip sync for sure because Sanjina was on the beat and was with the song and paced herself to the energy. I thought Xana literally looked like, I have to throw everything right now. And threw it nonstop to the point where it didn't seem like dancing. It genuinely seemed like she was practicing all of her moves.
I think that there is so where it is that what Sanjina brought is so high energy. What Uma brought was that energy on the beat, like I'm doing my thing. It might not be what you're expecting, but I'm doing
exactly the same every time.
Perla brings mystery and ooh and like calm, but still dropping it and making it crazy good. And Xana lives somewhere between. Lived closer to Perla on this than she should have, because I think it was something where she needed to bring more energy and bring more focus, and instead she was like, this is I'm gonna win, and just chucked out tricks to prove that it's worth it. I guess I was not as impressed as I thought I would be, unfortunately.
The fact that Xana can do the moves that she does, I think, is incredibly impressive. The girl knows how to move. The girl knows how to dance.
Yes.
She can do stunts, and I think at a level we're going to give props for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think for this song, I don't know if she specifically connected in the way I wanted her to. I don't know if all the stunts really fit with the song. It felt like this was, I have to give it my all, or I'm going to go home. And I think that energy works a little bit more for a lip sync for your life as opposed to something like this. I think if she, like Tori said, a little more control, maybe would have serviced her a little bit better. I think Uma had a very weird charisma where I kind of kept wanting to see what she was doing. It was a little bizarre, but in a way that was, for my money, entertaining. I understand that comparison to what Sanjina did this week. I think Sanjina maybe connected with the song a little bit more. She's talking about how much she loved Priyanka, and I think that connection serviced her a little bit better and a little bit more, even though while I enjoyed Sanjina's performance, I personally preferred Perla's to a degree, but that might have just been like apples and oranges. But I do want to give props to Helena for probably the biggest twist of the night. Her performance, I'm going to come out and say it, I think she should have won the episode.
I agree.
I think Virgo did absolutely stunning. She smashed her lip sync, and it was great that she was able to even have a moment with Shea Coulee talking in the confessional, talking about how much Shea means to her, and didn't get to say that on stage. But the way Helena performed was so insanely endearing. Every move, every word, every single beat was hit to a perfection that's utterly insane. I also need to talk about, this girl has one of the best bodies I've ever seen. Like, her body is correct. She knows how to proportion. And
well, I mean, it helps that she's wearing a color forms kit.
Listen,
I love this mod style though. Oh,
I
it's
love it. I
gorgeous.
love it. Love it.
She looks great. It looks great. I love her MySpace XD raw hair. I feel bad to a level that the show doesn't seem as vested, but from last week to this week, I really think she has a lot more to show than what the judges are really kind of giving her credit for.
I want to mention something that I kind of hate bringing up because I don't like comparing queens at all, but like, it's the trajectory. I'm comparing the story. I feel like if Jaylene doesn't find that joy after this not my favorite lip sync, and me thinking that if she didn't get the GB, she would be GO, I was quite nervous. But I kind of felt like this was a Widow Von Du kind of story. where like we are talking about this brilliant queen who is mother to everyone, who if she comes here, she's got to win because she's so fucking famous for what she does. And then I'm just not seeing it. Like, I know what she was going for, this subtle nuance of like a drunk performer. She was going for Judy at the Palladium in a way that Rufus would never. You know what? I really feel betrayed that I had to listen to Rufus at the Palladium. Like, you just don't understand my relationship with this situation.
It's not their fault. It's not her fault.
And I hate it less.
Yeah. I mean, so just to bring it back to Helena real quick, I think that she, not only did she win me, which was unusual because I was not prepared for that at any point, but I think she really showed something to the judges that I think they kind of weren't prepared for her to do on a song like this. I think they were like, this is gonna be interesting, and then they were like, holy shit. I also love Jaylene. I think just right, yes, and then I think something must have been up. I think maybe she got in her head. I think this wasn't what she wanted to pull out, and it just sort of ended up that way. And I agree. The moment that we found out who the bottom three was, I was like, if someone does not give her that golden beaver, this is an assassination attempt. And while I don't think that if we're going to save the girl who we feel did the best of the three, that's not what happened, but I think we had to do it for the soul of the show.
Okay, Tori, we have to produce a show, Lip Sync Assassins by Stephen Sondheim, and it is just
We'll do it.
Lip Sync Assassins and the girls doing shady reads. Mama,
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever told you, but me listening to Assassins on long car rides and all of the gunshots, the police sirens, and the explosions
Never
is a
listened to it.
psychological
For
damage.
you.
John Wilkes
Nope,
boots the house down.
Oh, John Wilkes does boost the house down. Oh,
my
see,
God.
that's the thing.
I
In my
just did
head,
that.
I was like, okay, so Morphine versus Dawn is the 11 o'clock number.
Well, that's
Like,
what I
we
was
can
thinking. I
do
was thinking
this.
more creatively, but I could also do Throne. So, okay. I wanna say something about. Okay, so when earlier today I was doing some performing, and I had a captive audience who was shouting requests, and I hit a number that I was really excited to do. I genuinely love, like, one of my favorite pieces to sing in this entire world. If you ask me, like, one of the 5 songs I will always sing to feel happy in my heart, it's Salisbury Hill by Peter Gabriel. You got to put it up in B and you got to sing it where it goes. You know what I mean? And there were some places in the that just did not come out the way I wanted it to. And I tried to be a J.H. Williams III. And I tried to make every brushstroke, no matter how incorrect, beautiful. And I know the weight of performing poorly. And what many people don't realize is I literally sit at this webcam, and every time I'm at my guitar, I record myself. If I am singing, I have a recording of it. I have probably 2 terabytes of me singing on this computer in the last year. And I know what it's like to not like something I did. I cannot imagine what it's like to have that bad bedroom number make it onto TV. And I can't imagine what it's like to not try and save the bad bedroom number. I don't think Jaylene let me down. I want to see her go all the way. If she's not in the finale, I feel like we've all lost. I don't think she's making it, but we've lost. And girl, I know what it's like to not want to boof that number, but Gwarsh, that was not the moment.
I don't even think she did horrendously.
No.
I do just think that it was just a sense of Helena just really outperformed her for this number. And I also imagine it's a song about Judy. Jaylene is this isn't a read specifically, just Jaylene is one of the older people there. She would probably, like, not that she knew Judy.
They used to drink together.
She might remember
actually
when
don't.
Judy was
Killed
alive.
It's
I killed Judy. Wig.
It's big. That's for us, not you. It's similar to Lavoie doing Liza Minnelli for Snatch Game. Those are the kind of the divas, the people that they might have been around or might have been at the forefront for queer culture at the time. And there's also that level of pressure, even though it's not specifically a Judy song. It's a song talking about Judy where Rufus is pretending to be Judy, as many gays do. And I think that adds an element of pressure that maybe wasn't specifically expected. There's also, she fought hard for that. She fought against Uma to do that song, and I kind of knew, like, once the bottom three was announced, I was like, oh, you have to save Jaylene. Yes, she might have not done better than Perla, but I do think she has plenty more to show. And segueing into Perla, for somebody who had to lip sync twice and lost the first one and then won the second one, I think she won the episode. She's like the unofficial winner. Not as somebody who exudes this kind of fashion confidence.
You do.
No, not me. Her. Me, Sir Fashion, never. I could never.
Love your bird shirts.
Bird shirts.
I do.
She doesn't give off specifically that level of, like, I can kick, I can buck, I can stunt kind of queen. And especially with the first challenge being performance-based, where she was a little bit lower energy, a little more cool, and a little more aloof in her performance. I was not expecting her to perform the way she does. Thank goodness Canada has universal healthcare, because she levitates. These are the gravity-defying stunts. She was holding space with the lyrics of Gravity, defying gravity.
Underneath her.
Underneath her. The way that she, like, arcs like this and then, like...
Well, let me ask you a question. How do you feel about the fact that in this tactics game, she's only allowed to occupy 2 squares? Because it seemed like she was going to get penalized if she moved anywhere on that stage, in a way that made me think that she was performing in a 360 photo booth and forgot that there was, 93% of the stage she was not engaging with. And, like, actually for me, Mama, if you want to do a chair dance, get you a chair. If you're to do a stage dance,
Yep.
I think you should fill the rest of the stage, because for me, that is actually the ding. If I thought that she didn't seem like she was geotagged and that if she went 2 feet to the left, she wouldn't be violating her parole, I would have had a really good time too. But considering that she seemed like she didn't want to get her ankle monitor wet, I was a little concerned for her.
As someone who watched them give, I think, Minnie and Michaela the note of, you can play to the camera, and watching all the other girls go, got it.
Yeah, the winner of the night was Shea Coulee, being literally the coolest person alive for the however old she is year in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think would this Minnie versus Michaela lip sync. The most interesting part of it was it felt like both of them, when they were like, oh, and you'd both been here before, that they both looked at each other and went, oh, right. I was like, do these gals not talk? Does no one talk to Minnie in the workroom? Are we running High School Mean Girls now? Like, is no one friends with Minnie? That makes me feel sad, but I don't blame them.
It's a revenge.
Minnie's cubicle partners were Tiffany and Xana. So and they exude a level. Xana, I think, is a little bit more mean girlish outwardly. I didn't specifically get that vibe from Tiffany. That felt more like caricature. Not to say that Xana's mean. She's great. Let her live.
Great.
She's got a lot of opinions. Good for her.
She does. And so do
Okay.
we.
When I have a lot of opinions, everybody's like, Nico, we're going to mute your mic. But when Xana has a lot of opinions, everybody's like, yes, mama, tits out.
We don't mute your mic. We don't know how.
I was thinking somebody would be like, no, Nico, tits out.
Also,
Titties
tits
out.
out.
Oh, do you need permission to remove
Do
your
it, do
shirt
it, do
now? I didn't know that was a thing.
I want my tits out like I'm at Eurovision singing cha-cha-cha.
Tits
And we
out
want
for Harambe. Tits out for Harambe. Rest in peace. This lip sync,
church generation.
I did not know what to expect out of Minnie. I had a vague idea of what to expect out of Michaela. This was a lip sync. I really enjoyed and appreciated what Michaela did. I think she could perform. I'm excited to see what else she can really like bring. She really knows. For somebody who's 6 years my junior, she really knows how to like work a stage. And I don't know how much specific performance ability she had before becoming Isis Couture's daughter, but like in the very short amount of time between when we saw her last to now, it's incredible. Just the what seems like that level of growth. And Minnie kind of danced like a Muppet.
I think Michaela has that presence that is so fantastic that I think she grew.
Presence.
Yes. I think this was some Thanos snappery. Do you really think I was going to up against poor little Sugar or whatever her name, whichever one was left at that point. I think
Spay neuter.
Yeah. I was prepared to be surprised by Minnie. I was like, Minnie's getting a lot of confessional time today, which is not her best work, but I was like, maybe her lip sync will be spectacular. And I think she really tried very hard.
Yes.
And towards the end, I think at least she got the judges to go, ooh, when she was thrusting on the stage and they were like, I've been thinking about you in that position for a long time now.
I want to engage with this. I feel like Minnie did her best, but she tried the way a Chef Boyardee tries to be Italian food at the Olive Garden. It is an impersonation of an impersonation. She was not the Minnie that we had seen all season so far. I mean, this is the third episode, so I feel like I kind of do know these girls 3 hours.
Yeah.
And that's how much you know character in a movie. And this was not the Minnie that I saw in episode 1, who never deserved to be in the bottom. This was not the Minnie I saw in episode 2. This was like the incredible queen had felt defeated and felt like she couldn't be herself. It just felt like she was putting on a strong performance of herself. It didn't feel like a strong performance from Minnie. And whether it's she woke up having back pain, whether she was emotionally not feeling her brain dopamine receptors go the way they should, whether her foot had a cramp on stage, it's one of those things where, like, as we were talking about it, I was shitty and, didn't really respect that Perla does deserve a lot of applaud for this episode. Really, really unbelievable job turning out what could have been a devastating loss. And I completely agree with you that she did actually become the number 5. And so it's important to respect that. Nobody lost this episode.
No.
In fact, I even want to say the person who had the worst night by far was Jaylene. But the strength of her beautiful spirit, the kindness of her motherhood, and the power of what her drag means to a community reminded us that no one person should ever be judged by their worst minute. And everybody should always be thought of by the full sum of their parts. Minnie did not deserve to go home for the full sum of her parts, and so I'm glad she was safe, even though she kind of drove me nuts tonight. I thought Jaylene did not deserve to go home, even though her performance drove me a little nuts tonight. Tiffany happened to be on the unfortunate receiving end of the way things shook out, but I will miss Tiffany, and I hope she has an unbelievable career. And this is going to sound really mean, not necessarily as a drag queen. I actually think her confessionals were so incredibly fun, and I could see her sitting on like a fashion show, having opinions on things out of drag. Of course, by all means, if drag is her passion, please torture yourself, get in these horrible, tight, constricting, body-destroying outfits, put on so much makeup that you can actually blink your hair. Do what you have to do. But I genuinely think this unbelievably talented performer has an incredible career for herself in and out of bustiers.
For sure. I didn't expect for us, as much as she has been in the bottom for 3 episodes now, I was not expecting her to be gone, and I was very fascinated by my reaction to that. I was like, oh, this is okay. But I mean, they both turned it out in both lip syncs. I do really agree, no one really walked away from this a loser. they might have walked away from this with the understanding of where some of their weaknesses may lie, but that does not mean that they can't turn the wig around.
Turn the wig around.
The only drag queen on the planet that I would have the same reaction I would have to meeting Mariah Carey is Shea Coulee. I've met Tori Amos, the only person in this world I love as much as Mariah Carey, and I was actually pretty okay. If I met Mariah Carey,
We can't really talk about it too much.
We can't talk about this every
He would be
week.
rough. He would be rough.
That's the
But
problem.
meeting
I
Shea
would-
Coulee,
I would have the same reaction. It would literally be the
Mhm.
same kind of, can I please stand 20 feet behind you, because being too close to you would not be okay. I would not be able to not cry. I think that Shea Coulee is I don't always agree with the stuff that she posts that she does. Like, I think some of the stuff she does is too outlandish, but it reminds me to be strong in my own outlandish way. There is nothing she does where I'm like, you made a mistake. I'm like, that's not the move for me. But like, I'm like, yes, I want to be NICO Coulee. Like, she is my guiding light in all of my drag decisions. I just think she might be the most incredible performer of all time. Talk about somebody who I do not think I saw lose, because again, the rose petals did nothing for me. I've seen people do stage theater before. Calm down. So I just really, Shea Coulee won the episode for me because she is the most perfect woman alive.
The only one thing I want to talk about, because I don't know, the show just seems to like semi-gloss over it, but I think this is the first time we have an actual drag mother competing against / with her drag daughter. Sangina is the actual drag daughter of the Virgo Queen.
yes.
They bring it up very casually, and like it was kind of mentioned, like at the beginning of episode 2. Virgo Queen was like, I have my daughter here, and I was like, oh, like I didn't think she meant literally, but it was pronounced a little more literally, and it feels fascinating. The show's not like making a bigger fanfare out of this, that two people like that connected are cast against one another. But those might not be playing into it because they specifically want to keep that relationship. So
Yeah, I imagine unless it becomes a thing where they're pitted against each other, or they
which
have
they
to,
might.
or they don't get, one of them doesn't get saved by the golden beaver. Like, I don't think they're gonna push it as hard unless they already know that there's something coming. But
You said that. I fully forgot the actual best moment of the episode was Perla saying, I've made that wig on her head right now, and she owes me money.
I was gonna say, wasn't Perla the one wandering around being like 10K to the next person?
No, she was going around saying that if you give me the beaver, I will forgive your debt.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Oh,
I
my
mean,
God. Capitalism at its finest.
But also,
Well,
like,
it is the season for a Christmas Carol, so.
but also,
Everything
like,
is
work it, girl. That
Yeah.
hair is way more than a rhinestone T-shirt.
You're
Call it
right,
as
in
you
this
see it.
economy.
Listen, we've come a long way since
Wait.
I'll vote you $10,000 after taxes.
Taxes.
After taxes.
She knew. She knew.
Party.
I do have to
Okay.
say, the other queen that really did impress me and really
Okay.
killed me was Sangina Devish Queen. I think that lip sync really, for all that I was very impressed with Helena Poison and was like, she might be my new fave. I was like, Sangina came out and did that shit. She tore the roof off, and Perla was gonna win if Sangina didn't do every inch of this, and she killed.
I'm going to do a mashup of Helena Beat and Helena for Helena Poison. Yeah, and it's okay. What's the worst thing I could say? It is literally so special what Helena delivered this episode. It was, it was adding an extra layer of almond paste in a rainbow cookie. It was double stuffed Oreos dipped in hot cocoa. It hit so good, and I felt like Sangina was serving exactly that, but the whipped cream vodka version.
Yeah.
But the cocoa vodka dipping version, like whatever the crazy pony girl version was he gave
Mhm.
me.
I adore this queen. I think she kind of reminds me of Adore in a little way, where there's a little bit of crunch, but there's also this level of charisma, and there's so much heart to this person who I don't think we've really seen someone so on the outside be like, I want to be here, I want to win, I want to prove myself. And there's a level of endearment to that I don't think we've seen in a while. It's very, I say this with love, it's kind of refreshing to see somebody be in love with the show that's on the show. Not that I think people who get on the show don't love it, but seeing someone so outwardly vocal about how much they appreciate the opportunity to be there it's endearing to me to see someone like, it makes me want to root for her. And I do root for her.
Yeah, I think now that we're so many seasons deep into RuPaul's Drag Race, it's not so much that like queens are like, I have dreamt of this every day, because they all kind of say that, because it's true. Like, this is how you will get it. This is a fast track to getting ahead, like going to Yale is for stage managers. And I think that there's an honest love of what the show does and means in Sangina that she is able to bring to the stage. And the joy, the excitement, where she's like, I am so confident in this, I know I'm gonna kill it, and I know that I'm gonna show them who I am, was very touching. And she looked fucking amazing. She looked good.
I do just want to say that I feel like there's no other way to describe it, but if the Yellow Jackets were a professional cannibal team, Xana looks like she is cosplaying a Juliette Lewis cheerleader for them tonight.
That's who she looks like.
Thank you!
She does look like a young Juliette Lewis.
And
in this particular look, yes.
I have not watched the trailer yet because I cannot emotionally handle how much I love Yellow Jackets. When TK said he was watching it, I was like, I'm literally going to throw everything in my life away to catch up on this fucking show. And so
Justice for Nat.
We started watching it because TK was watching it. When I tell you that Yellow Jackets is the most validating experience of a Northeast horror boy in the universe, but it's for lesbians, it's for women, it's for
women, it's for the girls.
And as a gay person, as a gay man, I feel like I am always just so grateful that women share their art with me. Yellow Jackets is the finest piece of art. It's probably my favorite TV show of the last 20 years.
Thank you, women.
Show since
20.
Yes, seriously, probably my favorite show since West Wing. Seriously.
I can't wait to someday have a Showtime password. I'll get there.
TK, as the guy who got me obsessed with Yellow Jackets, as the guy who made me really eager to watch ladies threaten to eat their male friends, walk us out of this episode, get us to Down Under, close us out of Canada.
They should threaten to eat Brad Goreski.
Can I also just say, I did not put it together until I was watching something on the YouTubes that I don't normally watch, but I did not realize that part of the whole season 13 or 14 where they like shortened the episodes for the Housewives of WeHo or whatever.
15.
That he's one of those WeHos.
Yes.
And so we can blame all of that on him.
Yes.
I do not know how he is the one that got away scot-free. I genuinely...
I think it's because he didn't post anything. I genuinely think he just kept his mouth shut and let it blow over.
I mean, the Queer Eye guy's husband is having a bigger blowback than Brad Goreski. And genuinely, every time I hear his name, I just want to be like, if I should die this very moment.
Oh, man.
Truly. Okay, well, fine. Not everybody loves European art pop. It's fine.
I'm saying it with you.
TK, get us out.
Bitch.
I said my piece. They should threaten to eat Brad Goreski.
Oh, well,
Move it on.
Okay, Melanie Linsky is going to eat Brad Goreski.
Girls.
No, I want Perla to do it. I'm saying they should.
Oh, okay.
No, I want
love
Perla to do it.
All right. Well, since we're talking about shitty judges, let's talk about All the shitty judging that happened in Down Under.
Tori is my absolute favorite anime character of all time. She
I
has
will.
weird special superpower ups that no other human being has. She must be an anime character.
I come from theater. I've made no bones about that. Here's the thing. An audition, you know what's important in an audition? Showing them that you have the ability to know what the words are when the words aren't in front of your face. So there are a couple of rules to auditions. Number 1, know your lines. Number 2, look cute. Number 3, the other 2 are choices and voices. And they said, make choices, make voices. But if you tell someone it's an audition, they're gonna do the lines. And while I think Lazy Susan did a fantastic job and was killing it, she took a chance and figured out something that the judges wanted that does not match what the challenge was stated to be. The idea of come in here and give us a vague understanding of the lines, but do you, boo. This was never built as an improv challenge. It was mostly built as an acting challenge. They specifically said it was an audition. They gave them all the exact same scripts. There was no world in which it was even hinted at that you should come in and fuck around with somebody else's lines. And so I stand by the fact that I texted NICO last night and said this was a fucking setup and I'm not even at the lip sync yet.
Tori said artist rights.
I want to
Jesus.
really echo your point, Tori. Do you know who Lazy Susan reminds me of? Adore Delano.
Adore Delano.
All of the I
Yeah.
almost said all of the rule Alanos. I gotta go. All of the rules go out the window because the judges think her version of talent is so perfect that whatever she does is perfect. Now, as somebody who thinks that Adore Delano is probably the second best singer to ever be on Drag Race, you're not going to hear me give a whole lot of argument. I think Lazy Susan is my second favorite. I almost said the second favorite ever, but like my second favorite ever queen to come out of Down Under. I think Lazy Susan is the artistic voice of a generation. She is a Sia. She is a Florence Welch in a world of really talented Dua Lipas.
She's a
And-
Florence Pugh.
Yes, truly somebody who has you're being funny, but it's somebody who has a unique vision for humor. Yeah. I think Lazy Susan is a genius, but Tori, you're so right. She won a challenge that they did not put in front of her.
The whole thing was a setup from top to bottom. I could not believe. And then I could not believe that Michelle Visage has the nerve to sit on that panel and say, Drag Race scripts aren't Shakespeare. You don't have to go word for word. I was like, why don't you come in here and tell me what you said on the actual Shakespeare challenge when you were sitting in front of it, and then tell me the words don't matter. Don't
This
come.
Park wench.
Sorry.
This turn punk.
Whew,
She is.
whew. I just started
You know what?
dropping R's like it was.
Tori, let me ask you a question. Do you think that's what Michelle Visage always felt? And do you think Michelle Visage is at her heart always just one of the queens on the stage performing for Rue to get to stay? Because look what she did to Santino. What was his name? Santino Rugly?
Santino
Take the dice and
yesterday
spill the
burned
rice.
rice. Yeah.
He worked at a Jamba Juice now, you guys. A Jamba Juice.
I think one of the reasons why some of the queens got bad critiques is because Michelle actually hates RuPaul's do it stupid routine. I think a lot of these gals were like, I know what RuPaul's Drag Race loves in an acting challenge. I'm going for this. Extremely stupid. I think Mandy's would have sent Rue over the top. I think that there would have been something about Nikita's that she would have liked. I think that was still sprinkled in, and then for Michelle to come in and remind everyone, no, actually, this is my house now, and I'm not as into that. I'm more into a clean but big choice. And so I do think that there's a part of me that feels like Lazy Susan has a more understanding of this is not RuPaul's Drag Race. We're actually in extremely uncharted territory of Michelle being around. But I cannot say if Michelle has always hated the fact that the acting challenges are so specifically narrow to do you know your lines. But I've heard her say you didn't know your fucking lines, and that's why you're not worth. I'm not praising you, kind of thing. So I don't know, but
so my only small counterpoint is I think back to season 8, Rukoko Empire. Bob winning because partially because Bob having really good improvised one-liners. Now, to be fair, Bob still had every word memorized of the actual script. Bob just knew how to improvise a good, funny one-liner to throw in.
Yes,
and I think
which is what Lazy Susan also did.
I think part of the slight problem is I think a couple of girls took it very earnestly, and like you said, treated it like an actual audition when this is really an acting challenge. This is just the set. And so trying to spice in a little bit more went over well for someone like Lazy Susan, where I don't think everybody else kind of thought about that. I think other people were focused on these are the words, I'm delivering the performance. And I think Lazy kind of got to more so, I don't want to say specifically have a little more fun. I enjoyed what Lazy did. Personally, I thought Freya did a little bit better.
I liked Freya.
You know, actually, okay, I want to engage. Jonah, I'm so glad you said something because I truly agree with you. And I really see where you saw Freya did something great. But I also want to agree with my favorite cam performer, KEVO. Really, he was saying when we were watching, he was like, Freya has done the same thing 4 times in a row. Literally the same drop, gets up, freezes, drops, acts wild,
does
one a crazy face, drops, and like she literally did it all episode, not just this challenge. And KEVO, I really appreciated when you said that because it made me realize it's sort of like what we don't love about Detox becoming obsessed with unhinging her jaw like a python. It's cute, but I don't know that it's a bit. I think it's a moment in a bit. And so like I think you're both right. I loved what Freya gave, but I also think there's more to talk about.
And I want to point as well to the fact that like a lot of how we view these things and a lot of the reactions that we get from Michelle and the inconsistency we get in their opinions, I'm going to say it, blame it on the edit. If they decide to make it look like it's a cute recurring gag, they will. And if it's just kind of a weird thing, it just comes across weird. So it's tough.
For sure. I thought Max won this challenge. I was entranced.
We're going to talk about
the riggery.
The tomfoolery. Please go.
I was just going to say, I also thought Max was the better lip sync, and I'm not, normally one of those opinions, but like, I just felt like Max was giving more. And so, yeah, it's a weird week, but it's a weird period of the season. And now, Jonah.
I'm not sure. I've come to like it being dear to Max. I think Max is an absolute incredible performer, talent. She's stunningly gorgeous. She's also the daughter of one of my favorite drag queens, winner of season 3, Isis Apis Lorette. And it felt like the show wasn't terribly vested in her. We saw it a little bit last week where I really don't think she should have been the bottom. And even she was kind of, I think last week putting her in the bottom, I think going into this week, she kind of knew her time was coming because I don't think she should have been in the bottom last week. And quite frankly, I don't think she should have been in the bottom this week. She really did not do that poorly. She did exactly what they asked, and it was a pretty good performance, especially for somebody who maybe that's not their typical gig. I know she's a dancing queen. She's a stunt queen. She can really perform and give a beautiful lip sync. But I don't know if she's specifically into like the acting of it all. But for somebody who maybe doesn't always do that, I thought she did pretty well. She did a good job. It just feels slightly like a shame that the show wasn't as vested and interested in her, especially as the daughter of the current winner. I think it's already a pretty good / easy storyline. And so I also do think, while I do think she won the lip sync, I also understand Nikita staying for Nikita having a little bit more to show, Nikita still having a little bit more to go forward with. It just kind of sucks that they kind of tossed this queen aside a little bit.
Yeah, it's also weird. This is kind of like the thing with Sanjina and Virgo Queen, where there's a big story in her drag mother judging her and like sending her home this week. Like, even to have done 5 minutes of, not 5 minutes, that's a while, but 2 minutes of judges' deliberation where they make it clear they're talking about sending Max home and kind of just, you know, get Isis's opinion on it. Like, you know, Michelle says to Isis, she's really in danger. What do you think? Like, are you prepared to send your own drag daughter home? Do you understand where I'm coming from? I think it is weird. It feels like if it were American Drag Race, they would really be highlighting these things and also like highlighting them in promos. And I sort of wonder if it is seen as kind of gauche or just unseemly to be using these connections in drag race franchises in other countries. Like, if they just don't want to sensationalize the way we do.
Very not poutine.
Yeah, precisely. But it's unfortunate because if they really felt like for whatever reason Max's time was up, they at least could have done her the service and the show the service of highlighting a unique storyline and doing something with it. And I think similarly, like, we've had Sanjina say twice now, really, like, specifically, I'm so glad I'm here with my mother. Or one time it was Sanjina, the other time it was Virgo. And, you know, they acknowledge it. It's very sweet. But yeah, nobody has yet said, what are you going to do, Virgo, if you're in the top and Sanjina is clearly the worst person in the bottom? Are you still gonna? And maybe that'll come up later. I don't know. It just like it's a weird thing. And it was, I felt like Max was the one to stay for sure. But if she wasn't, I felt like pointing to her unique storyline would have done the show a good service. Not even her, like, it would have done her a good service, but it really would have done the show a good service to kind of talk about this thing where, like, as Drag Race becomes more popular, this is inevitably going to happen more.
Like, imagine if Sasha Colby got on the show before Kerry did.
Yeah.
That would have been a lot of Kerry's storyline.
Yeah.
And it's also specifically because I don't think we've had the child of a winner come on after the winner's been on.
Well, now we're gonna have
There's
it.
usually a break.
Now we're gonna have it. Trinity's daughter and granddaughter are on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have a couple of interesting legacies coming up for season 17.
But they also probably won't see their
Oh no,
kid.
it's
You know?
Drag Nepo
Well, yeah.
babies.
And also, like, the seasons are like Trinity won several.
Yeah,
years
she won an
ago.
All
It's
Stars
not-
a long
It's
time
not
ago.
back
Like,
to back.
Right,
Alyssa-
they don't-
Specifically back to
Drag
back.
Nepo babies, guys. We have to talk to Rue. It's Drag Nepo baby. Oh, Michelle will never win. Never mind.
Yeah, we did have who was it? It was over on I want to say UK. It was Giselle's season, but one of the other girls was Isis Couture's daughter.
Oh, you are so right. Season 3 in Canada, Kimmy
Yeah.
Couture did
Kimmy
come on
Couture.
right after Isis.
Yes,
You were
and
so
that was
correct.
literally that season. So I think for me, I actually think opening the door to talking about Isis Avis Loren judging Max the drag queen actually opens the door to how much is she actually judging? What influence does she have? Is this a thing where, and I think the longer that Max stayed and maybe wasn't doing like as good, I think the questions would start to circulate. I was hoping for Max's sake that we were A, going to let her go when Isis wasn't there, or B, it was going to be a flame out that no one could say anything about. And I think the fact that it's a little hinky is something that they were trying to avoid, and I think it's why they've really like not talked about it in the edit as much. I imagine there was quite a lot more probably said that they just got rid of.
By the way, I want you guys to know that
That's a dog.
That's
Oh,
Bucky.
no.
Hey,
my
Buck.
my baby, my son,
Buckaroo.
my
Is
son
he-
seems to really.
Why is it dark?
Worry.
It's dark out. Oh no! I
He
can't
might be
see.
gossiping with the dog next door too.
It's the
That's-
Twilight Bark.
There's
Oh,
3 of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Evidently, he and the female dog next door get very gossipy in the evening. We were talking to our neighbors, so that's the love of my life, my everything. The thing that gets me out of bed in the morning and makes me happy when I go to sleep. That's my dog Bucky.
Bucky
Who, I love Bucks so much. So, hey Bucks, thanks for being on the show, handsome.
Good job, Bucky.
He has opinions about Max being sent home.
He does.
Yeah. I think he's trying to say, which I want to say, it's not her fault. She did not pick the judging. She did not pick her placements. I will not stand for anybody who's like, I need to lay myself down. I did really bad. Let me lip sync. I don't think this was particularly Mandy's episode. I also, for the girl whose fashion I'm always excited for, I didn't particularly like this look either. It felt a little weird to me. So the fact that she was specifically called safe before Vibe, who did Vibe have the best night? No, but Vibe did better than Mandy. Because it happened 2 weeks in a row. It's a little. What are the judges doing? Like,
You know, at the end of this, I turned to Nico and I was like, how many queens are left? 5. Yeah, I love Max, but she just wasn't going to make it to the top 4. And that's just sometimes what it is too. And we might not have had a giant moment because it might have just not been a good filmed moment. They might have just been like, yeah, we're just going to send Max home.
and,
It's just getting toward that time.
Isis was blubbering, and that
I know.
was really sweet. And I know, like as much as there could be a conflict, I do think she was actually as impartial as she could be. I don't think she didn't really judge a lot of the episodes that Max was getting critiques. So I think that also partially helped that it wasn't there was none of that any sort of ability for there to be favoritism. Not that there was, not that there ever will
Right.
be.
I
There was a
actually
lot of
wondered.
opportunity for it.
Yeah, I actually kind of wonder if the episodes she missed out on are. I wonder how soon Isis knew she would be judging for when Max got the call, because I imagine these girls, the first thing they do, especially if they have a mother who won, is go, "Mom, guess what? I'm going.
Tori, they don't do that. That's against their
Give me
NDA.
some money, please.
Of
I
course
have to
they
go to
would.
some.
Going to camp.
I have to go to
Summer
summer
camp.
camp. It's going to cost me $100K, and I need new heels.
I'm going on a long vacation.
Throwback
Right,
to
and
the-
so you have to think like Isis probably knew she was going to be judging before that, and so it does make me wonder if maybe there were runways where she had helped her with dresses, and then all of a sudden they were like, oh shit.
Wow. Okay, Tori, conflict. Oh, geez, conflict of interest.
Right.
That's a really great point.
And I'm not accusing anyone of anything at all.
No, you're literally.
I just say it's very interesting that there's a couple of episodes Isis is not on.
You're not accusing. You're pointing to possible recusing, and that's like actually the opposite. You're saying you think that there is fairness behind the scenes, not the opposite, and I think that's terrific. I think everybody was a little too hard on this episode, perhaps not you guys, but woof, Reddit did not like this episode. So I don't know what was going on there, guys. I don't know what you guys watched, but I thought the main heart of this episode was just sort of like the girls doing their best, and that's something that I think sometimes, like, I don't know, everybody's always like, no, we expect these girls to be perfect. Well, you know what? Fuck you, because every Lady Gaga's got a Joanne, and that's a legitimate thing. Britney Spears has flopped records. Madonna has the last 23 years of her career. So, like, you get to this point where you just, it's okay to have misses, and I don't think these girls even had a miss week. I think what happened is that these girls had a week where they and the judges did not sync up on the idea of the challenge. And, you know, I also want to say something to the idea that you guys were like, oh, she probably knew that her drag daughter was going, but Isis is a judge. She probably got a fucking dossier with the people on the show, and they probably reached out to her when they did their due diligence to find out about Max. And it's very likely that she knew this going in, and they were like, okay, so here's what we'll do. And the end of the day, one of the things that made this episode perhaps endearing to me, even if not a great episode, was that I thought there was no girl who threw in the towel.
Yeah.
I am so tired of these episodes where it is edited to look like the girl has stopped trying. And it is getting to be a lot that they try to do this in, like, maybe the anti-penultimate week. I feel like that was something they did with Kyron in the UK, where she was like, I'm having such a bad time. And like, then they tried to backtrack it the next week because that's what they do. I feel like we saw that happen with Nymphia in 16. Oh God. Okay. Anti-penultimate nerves means you're going to win the season, I guess. But I'm really tired of that because it doesn't make the queen seem stronger. That's the moment that I think the queen doesn't have it. And then when they win, it doesn't make me go, comeback story. It makes me go, unearned narrative. So that this episode did its best to avoid that sense of incompleteness. I was really glad to see every one of these queens go down fighting, even the ones who did a great job, not going anywhere near the bottom.
Also, something we should have considered. Next week is going to be the roast. Being Isis's daughter, they were like, we're going to spare you. We know that you might not succeed in this challenge. You don't have to bomb it. You won't be here for it. They spared her. They did her a service.
Oh my. I mean, that is fair. That is fair. I also yeah. I was really I'm all thrown off now. I had it. I would like to know, actually, from Mr. TK, as our local bitchiest correspondent, how you felt about the about the guest judge, and how much Reese kind of wanted to put him all like Michelle to put guy from Community through a wall.
H2O over any of his other things.
That was great. Yeah.
Joel McHale was one of my favorite guests. I loved Joel McHale so much.
Yeah.
I thought he was so funny. I thought bringing his level of his style of absurdity to what is a completely different country of absurdity as a straight person. Just like, that's all you really can do. Like, the in-between, which is also fine for me, is Bobby Moynihan. Who is another one that I really loved. He was really, really sweet, but he was like a little bit inoffensive in a way that's like, this is a drag show.
It was too tepid for the heat you need.
Yeah, like they'll cut you and bleep you if you're really offensive, but like, get cut and get bleeped because you're already here, and there's probably a person whose asshole is going to be showing on stage at some point, so you might as well do your thing. So that's why I really like Joel, because he was just so disruptive in a way that was very straight man in a room full of gay men dressed as women, exactly as you should be. So all the way over on the other end of the spectrum, we have this guy whose name I've already forgotten, who was so boring and so inoffensive and tepid and milquetoast. And he had actually some great advice. Like, if he had been the advice giver guy for the midway through point that they sometimes make show up, that would have been fine. But he was terrible as a judge, and
he was on Swan's Crossing. Who cares?
Sure. I don't really remember what he's from. He wasn't funny.
Something about a dolphin.
Something. Where's Bindi Irwin? Get Bindi Irwin. Call Bindi Irwin.
Real. Where is Bindi Irwin? Get Bindi Irwin on the show. She's a drag queen.
Oh, Bindi Irwin. That's the thing that Selena Gomez wore that got her in trouble, right?
When you're ready, get it.
Get it. No.
Nah.
No, we got to see the lovely Hanaconda.
Yes, we did.
Fresh
I
off
think I'm
of
still mad at
losing
her from Global.
All-Stars.
Or UK versus the world.
Oh,
Was
I'm
it
so
UK
sorry,
versus
you're
the
right.
world?
Yeah,
She
she
was
was
not
the
on
Global.
Global.
That's
You're thinking
right.
of the
Global was Queen
other
Kong.
blonde.
There's too much
big
stuff
girl.
happening. We're always doing this. We gotta stop.
I
Some
need Corey
form of
King to come in and do
international terrorism.
impersonations of all of them.
There was a lot of drag race this year.
Yes. They're just gonna keep making more. We gotta fix this.
No, make more.
It's been nonstop since mid-May, right? I'm not crazy. We did have like 1 week off between the end of 16 and the start of Canada.
Yeah.
It's the 1 week that Rue goes back into the Lazarus pit and then reemerges and looks at her daughter Talia Visage and says, "I am young again, and now we shall do battle with Trixie Mattel, better known as Batman."
See, and my reference is Lord Zed, where he goes into the coma, and then Rue would wake up to a love potion, and Santino is there.
And you were there, and you were there, and you were there.
$32.5 million shoes, motherfucker. Drag Race could never.
No. Speaking of Drag Race Can Never, I think maybe a slight issue with this actual challenge, it's not that even that it was a bad acting challenge or like there's nothing wrong with this, it's the way it was cut. If you're going to have people do individual scenes, I think it working better the way they did in All-Stars 9, that acting challenge, where everybody was doing, dramatic, over the top, kind of like, I said this about you, everybody was just doing a very different version of Dynasty. The way that it was very choppy because it immediately cuts to somebody else and immediately cuts to somebody else, and there wasn't a lot of cohesion in a lot of the performances because it wasn't cut that way.
Maybe the editor had just seen Slumdog Millionaire.
Or he watched Dragula, because that's how they cut some of those runways, is they're like, I'm going to show you 2 seconds of this person, boom.
There isn't a shot longer than 3 seconds in Slumdog Millionaire. That's the joke I'm making.
Oh, I mean, I think there was a point during watching like most of the latest season that's like, so unless Paul, you a 2 seconds before that.
She glitching
Paul, you
for
get
everyone else. That
in a
just
half.
needs tripping me out. Okay, Tori, you're glitching. And I want to reload.
Unless
Okay.
Drew, Paul,
And we're all going to be better about catching that for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my little babies.
I love it. She's just
She's just frozen.
It's perfect.
She's a
It's
weeping
perfect
angel.
okay for her.
Oh, she's back.
She's working on it. Can we also? I think it's very fair to call the shot. I do think this is Lacey Susan's to lose. I don't think we haven't seen a lot of people on Down Under doing what she does and the style, like the way she does her drag. We haven't really seen a lot of it on Drag Race. The fact that she had a working faucet in her wig to a dress that went into watercolors and the water hit her.
I can't
Who
do
is
it
doing
unless I'm
this?
naked. That's incredible.
It's some like Gottmik level of amazing.
She's trying.
She's like, no, we're not, Tori. I genuinely.
It's fine. It's that she's up that it's got and levels. Did that come through? No.
Enough of it.
Great.
did.
All that came through was, did that come through? It's uncanny.
But here's
But we
what it
love
is.
you.
Here's what it is. I want to say number one, Vibe is the MVP of the season. If she does not win, it is still Vibe's season. Mandy Moobs, you have every right to be this season's, I don't know, Roxy. You have
Susan
a long...
Lucci.
Ooh, Susan Lucci. I think she has a long trajectory of not winning. That's why I said Roxy, legitimately. So, long trajectory of not winning, but it's because you're actually so talented. This is not the arena. Somebody else's criteria is not the arena by which your talent is measured. I regret losing Brenda, but again, another person, not for this show. Max, I don't think you belong on this show. When you open your OnlyFans, I'm gonna subscribe, but like, I don't think that the rigors of this show and the way it says you must also be, because like here's the thing, if somebody said to me, Nico, I really want you to sing me an unbelievable, I don't know, operatic standard, I just couldn't. And no matter how much I love opera, I do not sing opera well. As much as I think it is the finest form of vocalization, I will never sing it well. And so there is nothing wrong with loving an art form and thinking it's beautiful. Nothing wrong with loving Drag Race. But you know what? If somebody said to me, Nico, can you sing a pop number, a dance number? Can you sing an ethereal chamber pop number? Can you sing blues? Can you sing an American standard? Can you sing country? I would be excited to get on the microphone. Do I think I can do them all at an A+? No. But do I think I'd give it from my heart? Yes. That's Max for me. Max gave it from her heart, and she is so good in 150 styles and 150 genres. It's not her fault that it happened to fall, that the 4 that she's not so great at came in a row. But I don't think this is a season of disappointment the way we recently had a season of a show, an international that we watch here in English, that we were really fucking frustrated by, and nobody was happy with it for the entire year. And ultimately, it went away really quickly. That was me doing a funny impression of one of the girls from that season. Yeah, I did not enjoy the last season of UK, but I thought this one that just happened was amazing. I don't think this is the last season of UK. I don't think it was the current one either. It's just that it falls between that makes it not memorable. You remember the zeros and you remember the hundreds, but who remembers the 43s?
I'll agree with that if my camera can stay working for long.
Girl, you're
enough.
here. You're right now. You're present.
No, you're crystal
Go,
clear.
go, go.
So basically, I'm very fascinated who is still with us. I think a lot of girls have really shown themselves in a way that I was not expecting on this season. Much like what Tiffany and Co said, at least Max went out looking gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous. I'm excited to see what's gonna come with these, because I don't think a lot of people would have called whatever this final 4 is going to end up being. And I also feel like this is a show where we haven't really asked ourselves who we think is going to be like top 3, top 2, because I think all of us are kind of, we don't really know quite what's up. Unless all of you guys know exactly who the top 2 is going to be, and I'm just the idiot left behind in the dust.
I gotta be honest. I'm
Obviously.
feeling the top 4 are going to be Vibe, Mandy, Nikita, and Susan. And
Yes.
then I think the top 3 is going to determine the winner. Because this would not be the first season to send Susan home in a punishing shock and upset, where then she's set for a versus the world, where then she's set to come over to American All-Stars and shock everybody in American All-Stars 11. Because listen. Hey guys, it's your drag dad here. And I just want to have a real quick conversation with you guys about something you need to be aware of. There are people who are out there that are going to try and take the amazingness of Drag Race from you. They're going to try and hurt you by putting what they believe are the correct spoilers up on YouTube. I want you to block those out. Don't look at the videos. Don't look at the previews. Don't look at the queens. You know a Denali from a GG Good. Don't look at the fucking thumbnail. You are better than that. Rise above the spoilers and be your own queen. So I just wanted to put that out there for all of you who go on YouTube and have already seen 1,000 videos that are like, All-Stars 10 spoilers! And like, fight it.
Yeah,
Don't get
keep
into
that
the
shit to yourself when you read it on the Drag Race Wiki for over a year now.
I fight to not look.
What is this? The global cast?
It's so true. But I'm ready to say goodbye to this season, not because it was bad, but because these girls never really got the shake they deserve. I do think it's Susan's to win. I think it's Susan's to lose. I think it's Vibes to vibe on, and I think Mandy. I almost said Mamby Noobs. I think Mamby Noobs, my new Twitch streaming name, by the way. Thank you so much to our amazing new followers on Twitch. I just need to put it out there. We have increased our Twitch following by 25% in the last 48 hours, and that's a big part of this sexy motherfucker right here. So thank you all for checking out what we do, but mostly thanks to this guy for bringing y'all here. But no, Mandy Moobs, really talented. I'm gonna miss this season, guys. Let's play ourselves out of Down Under, and let's get some vibes going toward our movie finale. I didn't have it. I'm so sorry. Anybody else?
No, that was actually really good.
I'll take it.
So, remind me, is this the antepenultimate episode? Do we have 2 more or do we have 1 more?
I think we have 2 more.
We have 2 more.
Okay, we do have 2 more.
In a weird
That's a shame for me.
notion for all Tori with the scathing comments. Someone said we only have 1 more week left, and
It was
might have
mine,
been talking about-
I think.
they might have been talking about challenges. No, in terms of your world, it's a set route. It's 2 weeks. You have 1 more challenge, then you have the finale.
Yeah, but in terms of filming, they might be doing those in 1 week.
Yes, but they are very specifically careful and coach them not to make them
Yes,
know about
they're
them.
usually
They
They
very
do coach
good
them
about
not to, but they also are not perfect.
No,
Yeah.
someone
Herding
might have
cats.
let that slip.
Yeah.
And I only
I-
said it's bad for me because I will not be here for that finale week, and I'm very sorry.
Oh.
I know.
Corey, pre-record your thoughts, and we'll
Yeah,
play it.
just give us a monologue.
I mean,
and
unless
we'll-
you want to do it on the Monday before Christmas, like
I'm Jewish.
up to
But yeah,
Not a good start on Christmas.
Nico, the one thing I am coin tossing on is I do think it could be Freya, not Nikita. I think it's going to be Freya and Nikita in the bottom next week, and I think obviously whoever wins that lip sync is going to be the final person in the top 4. We'll see.
I really hear you. I think that whatever Freya has is like the anti-perm, and it leaves me with a lot of feelings. But Tori, Torporal Tori, tell me what you thinking.
I'm thinking that in general or just about Down Under?
Ooh, okay. I would love to know your favorite Sailor Senshi and your thoughts on Down Under.
I am a Mercury, but I love Venus above all else. No, I'm very interested to see how Down Under is going to shake out because I don't feel like there is even like a top 2 figured out. And so that's kind of interesting because I feel like for a lot of this year, we've actually been pretty aware of who's going to be in the finale by about halfway through. And I feel like for this one, we're still very much in a weird spot. I think I am getting more excited for Canada these days because I feel like the girls are starting to prove themselves in ways where that reminds me of why I enjoyed their Meet the Queen so much versus how kind of mediocre I've been on it for the past few weeks. So I'm very excited to see what else is going on.
So I'm caught up in a storm of so many drag races whirling by me so fast. I'm basically in a Jonado. And so, listen, sexiest man in Philadelphia, as voted by the cute dudes at your gym. Tell me, I would love to know how you feel about what has been perhaps an easy to underrate season of Down Under that I actually think is going to watch better in hindsight.
Also, how you like them cheesesteaks.
Ooh, and your favorite Sailor Senshi.
One, I love cheesesteaks. I get mine from, if I can help it, Tony Luke's. You can get them from, I think, Culver's. No, not Culver's. That's not the right one. Whatever. Don't go to Pat and Gino's. Not sponsored. Number 2, favorite Sailor Senshi, Sailor Venus. That is who I am. To your point, I do think this is actually a much better season of Down Under. I think Down Under keeps getting better and better, and that makes me so grateful because I know it had some rocky beginnings. Going from 2 to 3 to this, I do think it's getting progressively better and better and better. It's just so unfortunate that this season got sandwiched between an amazing season of UK and what is hopefully shaping out to be an amazing season of Canada. It's really unfortunate that Down Under is getting left a little bit to the wayside in terms of conversation and enjoyment and excitement because we have 2 hype seasons surrounding it. And that really blows because I do think this is a really interesting and fascinating season. Granted, it's hard to compete with season 3 between someone fainting, canceling the lip sync, someone lying about their age to Rue. Like, so much happened in Down Under 3.
I cannot believe she blew
Why she didn't come back
that way. I cannot believe she literally fucking blew the season with that stupid lie.
But it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. We'll see how the roast goes.
Exactly.
I do think this will be a really great season. It might not rank. I might rank it like at a solid B plus, and there's nothing wrong with being a B plus. I think a lot of these girls are A's, but maybe the season isn't the most exciting. I just feel bad for it.
Well, speaking of S plus, Kevo, I would love to know
7.
your S plus 7.
Like an S plus party. Oh. What?
I love that your voice is back, you're vibing, you're having a good time. Do you have any thoughts to get us out of Down Under?
Like Jonah said, it's going to depend on how the roast does. I know that we're all vibing on vibe, but it's that thing of this being an actual competition and being actual reality is she might just not have the right jokes next week and it might tank, and who knows, probably won't go that way. But I think a lot of how we're going to feel about Down Under will depend on who wins, and it's going to be some stiff competition. And you didn't ask about my Sailor Senshi, which is good because I don't really know Sailor Senshi. So instead, speaking of stiff competition, I will instead talk about the fun time that we had yesterday with our gaming stream. So check that out on our channel and keep an eye out for stuff like that in the future because that was a lot of fun. I love stuff like that. I'm going to keep talking about wanting to do live watches until we actually get to do them. So yeah, and in the meantime, you can always check me out on all the socials. We've been asked before. We are all on Blue Sky, and we all did get our good handles. So check us out at all the socials you can find people on, including this channel. And yeah.
Well, I love that. Would you want to check us out on social media individually or the whole show at X is for Show, X is for Podcast, HTML, and more? We cannot wait to be with you guys. So until next time, my favorite Sailor Senshi is Sailor Moon because you fucking morons. I'm Usagi. Hi. I'm kidding. Not you guys, obviously, but anybody who doesn't think that I have protagonism syndrome is crazy. 3 things you guys can do for us: like, comment, and subscribe. We love you guys. 3 things you guys can do for yourself. Number 1, stay safe. It's a crazy world out there. Number 2, please be brave because who you are is why we're here for you. We love you. But number 3, evolve daily. Who you were yesterday, incredible. Who you are today, it's the amazingest. But who you are tomorrow, that's who we cannot wait to support. So until then, make sure you're here with us next time, and we'll see you.